Hey everyone, welcome back to Couch Critics, a real talk podcast where Dave and I sit back and reminisce on all things film that we're watching, and sometimes, like today, have a guest. That being said, I'm your co-host Josh, alongside
It's me, Dave. How
it's
you doing,
me,
Josh?
Dave. I'm doing well, Dave. How are you?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to this interview.
Yeah,
It's Naomi. I lost her last name, but Naomi from Morbid
Naomi.
Forest. Her and
Yeah,
her co-creator put together a really cool thing. I'm excited to talk to her and
yeah.
get some information about where
The
they came up with all that.
the Morbid Forest, great show. But yeah, we'll talk all about that. Before we bring Naomi in here, let's do what we always do. Let's talk about what have we been watching lately. So, what do you got, Dave?
I've seen a handful of things. Some that are more noteworthy, but there is a movie I'd like to talk about, without going into too much of a diatribe on a very old movie, there's a movie from 1944, even though it was made in 43. It's called None Shall Escape. And the reason I bring it up is it's a World War II movie. The Nazis have taken over a small village in Poland, but it shows the rise of a German guy from right after World War One. The movie starts with this German guy coming back. He's a school teacher, and he's teaching the school in this small village in Poland. And he's very angry because the Germans lost the war, and he's egotistical about it and telling the people in the village, like, anyways, he continues on the path that basically like the Nazi party rise to the same, but anyways, leading up to World War II. But the whole movie is told in um, uh, uh, a war crimes trial before the war crimes trials even happened. This is 1943, written in the
Yeah,
beginning of 43. So not only was World War II still happening,
yeah,
but Hitler and the Nazis were winning. They were very much ahead of the Allies at this point, and there was some real fear in the world. And this movie was written by the idea that I think FDR or something had said something about how they're keeping track of all of the Nazis' atrocities for war crimes trials. And this guy said he wrote a movie based on a hypothetical war crimes trial of this Nazi officer. Now, mind you, Judgment at Nuremberg is from way later, but even the Nuremberg trials are late 45, like it's the post-war and all those things. So this is before that. Now, in this movie, the only reason I bring all this stuff up is they do touch on the Holocaust, and they touch on throwing Jews in trains, and they touch on,
really.
yeah, and it's funny to me. No, not funny, it's terrible,
Yeah,
but it's interesting to me that there was a kind of a nationwide assumption
yeah.
at the time that maybe the United States and the citizens like that weren't really aware of what the Nazis were doing, but it's in this
Yeah,
movie, so they definitely knew.
they knew. And
Anyways,
remind me the title one more time.
None Shall Escape. It's very good. It's a good solid movie regardless, but if you think about the time frame, I think they
I,
even say it might be the first Holocaust movie, which even though this is a smaller part of the whole movie, is still just it's very well done. It's all done in like it has a lot more Akira Kurosawa. It has a lot more what's the word I'm looking for? The one that's all taught in flashbacks. Anyways,
yeah,
it has
I see that it is. It's all in flashbacks. Yeah,
it's all in
that's
flashbacks and it's just very well done. I just want to note that one because it's a good watch. If you can handle black and white, if you have any interest in World War II,
oh,
then this is a
I
really
yeah,
solid movie, told well and done well, especially
yeah.
considering the war was actively
It was
raging
yeah,
when
it
they
was
filmed it
happening.
and wrote
Yeah,
it. So I don't know. Just that's
uh-huh.
one interesting. That's one that's just worth mentioning because people
Sure,
should check it out.
absolutely.
What have you been watching? I have a bunch of other stuff too, but
So yeah,
I don't want
so
to dominate
now
all the time talking about
I've
the
been doing
Holocaust.
most of the stuff I've been watching has been research for this show, other shows, but for just for watching purposes, just because I just filling in holes and things. I've been doing this deep dive into black exploitation, culturally black horror, those kind of things. So I actually watched two this week. First was 1973's Ganja and Hess, directed by Bill Gunn. It stars Dwayne Jones, who just a couple of years before this, famous for being the main character in Night of the Living Dead.
Okay.
Um, very good movie. He plays this Dr. Hess Green, who is he's a archaeologist, and he's out researching, and he gets stabbed with like this ancient ceremonial dagger and becomes a vampire. And it's just how it's told in three parts, and it actually says like act one, and this is what it is, and it's like it almost feels like a like the camera is it they do a lot of low cameras in tight spaces with multiple people hanging out, like you're sneaking in there, like you're spying on this stuff happening.
Fly on the
It's
wall
got
kind of
this,
stuff.
yeah, it's got this really gritty um dreamlike feel to it, like you're just kind of there. Really really good movie. I enjoyed it a lot. And the only other one that I watched this week, not nearly as good, but 1990s trauma film Death by Temptation,
Mm.
starring Kadeem Hardison, aka Dwayne Cleophas Wayne, the ladies' man with a
Yeah.
plan.
I just remember him with the glasses,
The
right?
glasses,
Isn't
the
that?
flip up glasses. Yep.
Yeah.
Bill Nunn is in it. Cynthia Bond is in it. Samuel Jackson has a small part in it.
It's a
Early
trauma
Samuel
film.
Jackson stuff, and it's a trauma film. It's called Death by Temptation. It's a shape shifting succubus stalking the streets of New York City and
That old chestnut.
targeting men with weak morals and insatiable desires. Now it's
It's
fun, it's cheesy, but
all trauma is.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Which
yeah.
a couple of interesting things that I wasn't aware. So if you didn't know already, the Toxic Avenger is has been redone. I think it's been finished for 2 years now, but it's finally coming out. I
Been
think
sitting
next
on it
month.
for a while, yeah.
But anyways, coming out next month, and so in it also to me looks amazing. Like I have super high expectations for it, but I also know it's going to be dumb, cheesy, overly violent, overly
Oh,
gory
yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's what it is. The
That's what it
original
is.
was too, just on a very small budget. They actually put some money into this one, and so in watching this trailer, it's got Peter Dinklage in it as the main as Toxie. It's got Kevin Bacon in it. It's got
He
this
looks
huge cast of people.
hilarious,
Elijah
hilariously
Wood,
evil in it.
Elijah Wood's in it. He looks
Yeah,
like the Penguin from Batman Returns with Danny DeVito's Penguin.
yeah,
But it just looks great. It looks silly. It looks fun. It's this classic trauma stuff. There's a in the trailer. They're in a burger place, and all the posters on the wall that are advertising the burger place are funny. Like say
yeah.
seeing stuff like "suck this" and all those kind of things like that. But anyways, just you got to look around because trauma likes set decoration.
Oh yeah.
But anyways,
And
so
there'll
in
be callbacks to their prior films and advertisements.
100%. And so in that, I got a little excited. I was like, I think Lloyd Kaufman probably the one of the co-founders of Trauma, who, by the way, Trauma has given so many filmmakers a start. Like so many people came from Trauma. But anyways, and so I was excited. I said, Lloyd Kaufman's probably going to make some actual money. Like if
Yeah,
this looks like it's a big budget deal.
yeah.
I didn't know Disney bought Trauma.
This
Disney
is news
bought
to me.
Trauma. That's why Disney bought Trauma in April of this year.
Just did.
So, yeah. So Disney now owns, which I was thinking, is that why this movie's coming out now?
Does that mean that the Toxic Avenger is now a Marvel superhero?
Oh God, I hope not. But anyway, although I think Stan Lee did do the comic, so maybe.
Yeah.
But anyways, the whole point of all that stuff is I did not know Disney first of all had any interest, but also that means is Lloyd Kaufman not going to make if this movie opened huge, and I was excited that he was finally going to get a real paycheck, like as if like Roger Corman finally getting his big one,
I'm only guessing here, but Real Talk follows Lloyd Kaufman on social media, so we see all of his stuff, and he is posting, he is doing all of his stuff like he is still hands-on with everything.
He's just not CEO anymore.
Yeah,
is my understanding.
He has well, I mean, he just got $500 million.
Did he? I mean, I hope so. God, I hope so.
They paid $500 million. I don't know how that money gets divvied out, but
investors, everything else. But anyways, I just that's the craziest thing to me because those two things sound in conflict, right? Disney and Trauma. If you know Trauma films,
Yeah,
the stuff that they
Sergeant
put out
Kabuki
there.
Man,
Yeah, the list, it's
Surf
amazingly
Nazis Must
terrible
Die.
movies. It's the most
Yes,
amazingly terrible movies
yeah,
that you can watch, but they know that, and
but
that's what they're doing on
yes,
purpose.
100% tongue in cheek. We know that we're being ridiculous and over the top. Yeah, I did
Um,
not know. Yeah,
I didn't either. I was
finalized by
surprised.
Disney this year.
Yeah,
That is absolutely
crazy.
amazing.
And how
I
come I didn't
hope.
know that already? How did I not know that?
Yeah,
Actually, how did you not know
how
that?
did we not? Yeah,
you're
because
you're the professor on this show.
Lloyd Kaufman and Michael right. Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Hers started Trauma 1974-ish, and it's just been like the two of them for 50 years.
Yeah.
And
It's
now,
following Roger Corman's thing.
yeah,
Roger Corman was a mentor for Kaufman, and
for sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
that's just what it is. First of all, everybody should see the new Toxic Avenger. I think it looks great. It
I
looks
plan to
fun.
see it the first chance I get. Whether I don't know if it's going to be playing any local theaters near me, but if not, I'll watch it streaming the first chance.
Yeah, it's same. I'm sure there's going to be people probably who don't like it and talk about it's trash, but I think they just missed the point. But anyways, so there's that. I do want to also say something else I watched was it's Humphrey Bogart's last movie, not to go back again, but we talked about Jack Albertson. What did you watch?
Yeah.
The Jack
Yeah,
Albertson?
Jack Albertson in Dead and Buried, his last film.
Yeah, his last film, but he's also pops up in this movie called The Harder They Fall, which is
Uh-huh.
Humphrey Bogart's last film where he's a boxing promoter involved in this. If you like Humphrey Bogart, if you like classic films and stuff like that, he's great in it because his character's supposed to be old and grizzled. I think he was already getting sick at this point. But anyways, very solid boxing movie. And then the other thing I watched that's of note was a movie called Brainstorm from 1983. It's got Christopher Walken and Natalie Wood and Louise Fletcher, who plays Nurse Ratched. Great cast of people. Cliff Robertson. Cliff Robertson. Anyways, but great cat. He always kind of reminded me of Hugh Hefner a little bit for some reason. They look very similar. They occupy very similar space in my head. Right. Maybe he played Hugh Hefner in a movie sometime. Actually, I think he did. But anyways, it's called Brainstorm. It's from 1983, and it's about basically future technology. This group of scientists working on the ability to video record an experience or an emotion, and then somebody else can play back and watch that and have those same feelings. If somebody was wearing a recording while they're on a roller coaster, then somebody else wears like a headset and the tape plays back, and they'd feel like they're on the roller coaster. It's made by Douglas Trumbull, which famously is one of the early special effects pioneers of the modern era, like the 2001, the Star Wars stuff. Like he's integral in all those things. I think it's the only movie he directed because the studio, he did not like the studio, but most people only know this movie as Natalie Wood's last movie because she died in the middle of filming when she quote unquote fell off a boat.
The person who was absolutely terrified of water, but that's a story for another podcast.
Yeah,
maybe but I know that they filmed this in late 1980, early 1981, because she then died in 1981. Did the studio sit on it for 2 years? Do you know if there was?
Yeah, my understanding is a couple things. One, they had to kind of do some reshoots and do some back of the head shoots with her sister, Natalie Wood's sister.
Yes.
Which I think was somewhere in that year after it was nearly completed. That's my understanding. And then, I think the studio sat on it because of the bad press. And I think there was the investigation into Natalie Wood's death. And she happens to be on a boat with multiple co-stars from the movie.
Yes. With Christopher Walken was there. And then her estranged husband at the time was also
Robert Wagner, who plays number 2 in Austin Powers, for anybody who doesn't know.
I did just look, Douglas Trumbull had directed Silent Running about 10 years before this.
Yep.
Everything else is all short films that he did through over time, with one exception. He did the Back to the Future, The Ride, for the was it Universal Studios.
Yeah. That old chestnut.
That old chestnut. He did not do a lot. Yeah.
There's some other stuff I watched, but I know you and I both watched a horror movie called Talk to Me, at the behest and
We did.
the request of our guest that's coming up after this,
Of our guest.
which is
Yeah.
a psychological thriller horror movie. Fantastic. You'll have to listen to the rest of the show to hear all that stuff. But
Yes.
those are the big things I watched. There's some other stuff of note, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it was a good week. In some of my classic films, but depending on those are not always the most entertaining to talk about, because I can talk about Hedy Lamarr forever, but
yeah.
that's for another show.
Mm-hmm. Or Hedley Lamarr if you want to go Blazing Saddles.
Hedley.
Hedley.
I've got a whole bunch of Hedy Lamarr stuff.
Yeah.
We'll save that for another time.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. So we do have Naomi Richards from the Morbid Forest waiting to come in. And we will talk about the Morbid Forest, and then we'll get to Talk to Me, which, yeah, spoiler alert, wonderful movie.
Great movie.
Let's take a quick break, do some business, and when we get back, we'll bring in Naomi.
Yep.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Couch Critics, a real talk podcast. I'm your co-host, Josh, alongside
Dave. We have a guest today. Josh, we have a guest.
Yes, we do have a guest, Dave. I was just about to say that. Dave loves to step on my lines.
I can't help myself, man. I've been doing it for 30 years. Come on.
It's so true. That being said,
if you talked faster, then we wouldn't have this kind of trouble. Just Josh and Josh.
Just Josh and Josh. That being said, Dave is correct. In this episode, Dave and I are the travelers, and we are bringing in our new friend, Naomi Richards, from the Morbid Forest podcast. Hello, Naomi.
Hey,
well,
Naomi.
Hello there, dear travelers.
Welcome. Yeah, there you go. I know that's a voice I know. I know that voice.
I've heard that voice.
To do it, right?
That's awesome. So, real quick, Naomi, I see on here that you handle all of the editing, scoring, sound design, all of that, and obviously your voice comes in there as well.
Yeah, it does.
tell all of our listeners about Morbid Forest. Give us your sales pitch.
Sales pitch. Okay,
Yeah.
So to sell you the elevator bitch. So the Morbid Forest is a horror anthology podcast. Basically, we describe ourselves as a no holds bar, anything goes horror show. Both myself and my co-founder Sean, we love horror, everything there is to do with horror. So we like to explore all the avenues there is with it. We do have some rules of things we don't like to touch, but for the most part, we're an anything goes show. We don't want to, hold back on the horror. So each episode is a single story, a standalone. We started off like at the very beginning, it was just Sean and I writing stories, and now we're taking on some submissions. So able to kind of like give voices to other writers who don't get that chance. So that's our spiel.
You produce, because each episode is beautifully put together. Sound design, the recordings, everything else is very, very well done.
Thanks.
You guys are basically taking somebody else's written material and doing that, or is somebody submitting sometimes fully produced stuff, or do you guys actually doing the production?
We're doing the production. So someone is submitting their story to us and going like, this is the story I have. For the most part, most people don't submit like screen written stories like with directions or anything like that in them, and so I take liberties.
Right.
I can.
I was going to ask if you see something, will you ask the author for edits, or will you just kind of make small edits, or does it depend on how big the change is?
I really don't like to change someone's story. That's kind of like the whole spiel, especially when we bring on other writers. It's what I tell them during their agreement. Like, we're going to go through a process. I'm going to read your story. We're going to agree to it. I'm going to do an editing process. This is not a me owning your story in any way, me changing any big aspects, because we agreed to your story as is. Just minor tweaks here and there for audio or whatever, for spelling or grammar or something I might need for my actors or something. Nothing major. I will say that I did do one story this season that I took on from a younger writer, a first-time writer, and I was like, I see a lot of potential in your story, that it's lacking a few things. Will you work with me? I will make suggestions. it's up to you to decide to rewrite them and how you take them, and I'll kind of act as like a guide for you. That was the first time I did that.
Coaching.
I did that this season for the first time.
That's awesome. That's great. Bring up the young writers. That's very smart.
I love that.
That was the whole point. Like, I know what it's like to struggle as a writer. It is really hard to get your work out. It's still really hard to get your work out there and have people see it and love it and want to listen to it or read it. And so we want to help those other writers out there.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Do you go to places like, is it all through like your Discord and everything, and through the, like a website or something? Do you have a website for Morbid?
We have a website, poorly run by me. Poorly run website.
But you got a lot of jobs, so you know.
But we do a lot for like our social media. Honestly, that's where Sean helps me the most. Is he will respond a lot faster and do things social media and be like passing me like, hey, we need to do X, Y, and Z with this, or hey, someone reached out to us with this. How do you feel about that? But it's really great to have him handle like the answering on social media, so I don't have to think about it all the time.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of how we are. Dave doesn't do,
I don't like
social media. So so Dave and I are very similar. Like our personal lives, Dave and I have nothing personal life on social media. The only social media is the shows.
Nice.
So I totally get that. I run it. I also have a little bit easier schedule than Dave. Dave works construction, so it's all day, long days, all the time. I'm a teacher, so I have a little more freedom in my
Even
schedule.
if I was off all day, Belle, I wouldn't do social media. I'd still be like, I'm not going to respond to this. I'm not starting a Twitter account or whatever you call it.
I would give him more homework on the show. I would give him more homework on the show. No, so I see you guys have like, but you have the Discord. Do you do Substack at all?
I haven't reached into the Substack era. I feel like it might be a better avenue for us. It seems to be like a website, but a blog situation, and we might like that. Like format.
I use Substack personally because I like to think that I'm a writer, so it's an excuse for me to put my written word out there. And you know what? If somebody looks at it's the same thing as this podcast. If one person listens, if one person does it, then I feel like I did what I was set out to do.
Reach one person, audience of one at least.
Exactly.
I'm surprised by any more than one. So if anybody listens to anything,
every day that we get more than 5 listeners, which are the 5 friends who said they would listen because they tolerate horror, because
it's shocking.
Do not like horror.
So
I'm not a huge horror fan. Belle is a much bigger fan, but not that I don't or dislike. I loved. I listened to I think 5 or 6 episodes. I think. I loved it. I think it's very well done. The production alone it warrants checking it out just to see it. But the way the stories flow through and everything else is very good.
I love that there are some of the stories don't, and it's normal with horror. Some of the stories don't hit me as much, but for some reason, ever since I started listening, I listened to all of season 1, and then I started season 2. But still, that very first, I think it's the very first episode, is I keep thinking of that is, it's still stuck in my head.
That's Sean's little brainchild baby, and like that kind of kicked us all off into doing the show anyway. And it's definitely a make or break it for our listeners. Either you like it and you keep going, or that's not for you and you're like, okay, bye. Like
I listened to that and I was like, okay, I'm listening. You got me. I'm in. I listened to that episode. I had a teacher training a couple weeks ago, and I was like, all right, it's lunchtime. I'm gonna go listen to a podcast. Not what I was expecting on my lunch break. But it totally, I get it. Like that is not gonna be.
That pulls you in though. Everyone I listen to pulls you in almost immediately.
Oh yeah,
you find something you're interested in right away. The narrative hook sucks you into whatever's going on and carries you through the whole thing.
And the idea of the ranger taking you on the tour, and that we're travelers in this kind of Twilight Zone-y other dimension is that does it's, and like how important is that in the not serializing, in the
like the backstory,
in creating step into this world? How much goes into setting that up? Because this is those parts are obviously not a part of the story, right? That's
Right.
all you guys.
It's like the Rod Serling Twilight Zone,
Yeah.
right? It's the host introduction and in the same universe, and this is
getting
why.
us into
It's definitely Ranger Harper and the Morbid Forest kind of exist in their own little universe, like, and then the stories exist like parallel to that like universe. We're slowly starting to kind of tease out her background and more of the Morbid Forest and give our listeners a little bit more of what that world looks like and everything. It's something I'm actually exploring this season. Actually, on Patreon, I'm kind of going to be writing a few background stories into Ranger Harper, how she kind of got into the forest, what she kind of does outside of like, you know, seeing travelers every day and guiding them down this, you know, trail to their next park.
She bakes a lot of cakes and cookies.
She bakes a lot of cakes. She's really cool. She has a fun little
a lot of gingerbread to build a house.
She does a lot of scrapbooking.
A lot of scrapbooking. She does not cuss a lot at all.
Love it. That's awesome.
But yeah, she's just, you know, she's your guide. She's the person that kind of helps you in order to like survive this world that you've also fallen yourself into. She's trying to distract you, right? And that's what campfire stories and these kind of types of urban legends are all about. They're a good distraction to whatever's happening to you in reality.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
Was that concept, was that a you concept, or did you and Sean work together?
That was definitely an us concept.
How are we going to present this?
Yeah, it was very early on. Like, he came up with the show name and he came up with Ranger Harper too. We've kind of like from there fed off of each other on what we wanted. Because originally, like, I was only going to like do a story for him. I wasn't actually going to be like a founder of this show. He was just like, hey, I'm thinking about starting a podcast. I like your writing. Do you want to write an episode for the show? I'm like, sure. And then he's like, do you want to voice it? And I was like, I don't have any equipment, but I'll get some because that sounds like fun. I've done acting all my life, so this would be great for me. He's like, so how would you like a steak in this? It was like little breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
Bringing me in. And a couple of years later, here I am.
Yeah. It's amazing. You did not see this happening. I get that.
No, I thought this was like going to be a one and done situation and like be like, oh, that's something cool that I did.
But you knew the stuff was good. Like, you knew the concept and stuff was good. That stuff, I think, cream rises to the top.
Yeah.
You know.
And here you are 4 years later.
4 years later.
Getting ready to kick off season 6?
6. Yeah.
Yeah,
we went very hard at the very beginning, just like back to back like things, and we both had a lot of writing in our reserves, and now we're at the catch ups. Like, oh no, we need to come out like probably like once a year. Like, oh no.
And there's that idea that everybody talks about in the whole podcasting, social media thing is all about consistency. So you can't have a huge layoff between seasons. You have to always be engaging and working towards that. So yeah, that's the hardest thing for me, is because sometimes I'm like, do I feel like doing it today? The great thing about this is the minute Dave pops on the screen, my attitude about all this changes.
This ugly face keeps him motivated.
Like, that's why I like that my absolute kind of movie I want to watch, but I have to be in the right. I'm also my wife does not do horror. She does not do gore. She doesn't do any of that. I also have 3 grown daughters who come in and out, and a pregnant daughter. So like, I have to find the right time, the right mindset to sit down and do that. So having extra time to do anything. So Dave and I, we're sitting on, what is our reserve, Dave? Maybe 8 episodes.
That's really good.
Yeah. It's early for he and I. Bell's been doing this for a couple of years now. I think I'm only 4, 5 months in. When did I start on this?
Beginning of March. So,
but you've been.
I've been doing. I started Real Talk, where it was just me doing deep dive reviews of movies in October of 23. So almost 2 years ago. But I did this because Dave and I had always talked about, we're going to do a podcast together, because best friends, 30 years, but we
Oh,
live 10 hours
cute.
apart. We're in two different states, so it's really
Yeah.
hard to do this. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start this. I'm going to figure out most of the bugs, get them ironed out, and
Yeah,
then I'll bring Dave
proof of
on.
concept. That
Yeah.
was realistically. Once I looked and I was listening to because I thought, well, it sounds all right. Maybe I can
Maybe
put my effort and my time and attention into that. I know that sounds very selfish and narcissistic, but it's kind of what it was.
So for you, do you have a regular job that you go to?
I do have a regular job I go to.
How
Sean is actually disabled. So, sorry.
I'm sorry. Say it again. What is it you do?
Sean, I work in biomedical research. Sean is a disabled vet, so he gets all the free time. So,
right.
I
don't know if it's a good trade-off, but I mean,
no, probably not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I work like a regular, like I go into work at like 6 a.m. and I'm off usually at like 3 or 4. And then like I come home and then it's usually like, okay, relax, podcast time. Like it's going into your second job.
Yeah, it's demanding sometimes.
Yeah, and that's where I struggle sometimes. That's where my it's never that I don't want to do the conversation part. It's I don't want to go sit down and edit. I don't want to go write another episode. How do you balance or prevent the Morbid Forest from feeling like it's just another job?
Yeah, you're doing sound. I'm sorry to interrupt. You're doing sound design and everything else. That is so well done. It's very well produced.
I
imagine it takes time.
Take all these compliments and like save them for later when I feel like shit about what I'm.
No. It is like, very good.
Because it's not my background.
We don't give out compliments where they're not deserved. So
it's legit.
It is really, really well done.
Yeah, it's the production value of the pieces.
right from the first episode. So
I don't know. I didn't listen to the first one. I guess I should have.
How do you not just say I can't do it? I quit. It's too much of a job to be.
I think at the very beginning it was really hard because I like powered like straight through. I'm all like, okay, we're doing this. I'm dedicating myself. I'm a Capricorn. I'm dedicating my full life to this. Like this is who I am. This is my new personality, right? And I hit a wall at some point. I just like burnt out. Like I can't look at another DAWs and I can't look for more sound. I just like I don't have it in me. So what I did is I kind of created a schedule for myself. For this,
smart.
Like, yeah, sure, I work, I go to the gym or whatever, and then like let's say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, those are podcast specific days. Those probably the days. Those probably the days I'm probably not making some like crazy meal for dinner. It might be leftovers or like whatever else, and I might spend like 30 minutes less at the gym. But when I get home after I've had an hour, because I give myself an hour to like decompress from my whole day. I have my staff. I play with my dogs. I chase my cats around. Like I'm like, okay, it's time to work. And then I also give myself like a deadline. I used to work like until 12 or 1 a.m. on stuff.
Just and then get up and do it all over again the next day.
Do it all over again and be tired. And I'm like, no, you need to give yourself like an actual bedtime.
Yeah.
Be so for real. You can't work until 1 a.m. every night and then expect to like be up at 4 to go to work, to be at work at 6 and be functional. Like that's not gonna cut it.
Don't you hate stopping the creative flow though? Because that's what always gets me.
I do, but I've gotten a lot better the last couple of years of like watching that timer. Like 10:30 is my absolute like cutoff. Like you need to go wind down. You need to let this go. You need to find a good stopping point at some point before you reach that time.
It's really smart. The routine is very smart. It's a good way to go.
And it definitely does help because it's given me like better balance for like my social life. Like I'm married, poor husband. Like,
you are married? You are married? How does your husband, I'm sure, is a huge fan.
He is.
Is a fan. Is he a listener? Does he
he's a listener.
Support everything you're doing?
Yes, he supports everything I'm doing. He's a great supporter. He like reads all of my stuff before like I decide if I'm going to put on the show or submit it to something. Awesome. He listens to all of our episodes or wants to listen to them. He buys the merch. Like he tells you about the show. Like he's a supporter.
He's
Just
like your
saying.
number one fan, basically.
Basically,
That's my wife
Yeah.
is the same.
That
She's our number
Dave's wife
one
is our
fan.
number one fan. My
So
wife
cute.
supports me in that she never complains that I'm doing it, but she
Yeah.
will not listen.
Well, both of our wives always told us we should do this because we would annoy
Yes.
people at parties by having
Yes.
very similar conversations to see
Nice.
Belle and I, and so that's kind of where the impetus came from in the first place. But yeah, it's if you don't have somebody supporting you on the back end, it's much harder. So I get that. That's awesome.
Definitely my husband and my grandfather, honestly.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
okay.
He's like big, he loves writing and we always talk about stuff. So he's a big like listener, or like he likes to give suggestions, like he knows what he's doing. I'm like, sir, you are a doctor. You know nothing about something.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, those two are definitely our biggest. And Sean's sister is a huge supporter of us. She works at a hospital in New York and plays our show like for the nurses.
Oh, yeah.
Which is so cute.
Let's get our minds right and go save people.
Adorable. So having those three are like our biggest champions of the show is like really, it's great.
Yeah, that's 100%. That's Dave's wife. We call her Mel. I don't know if you ever watched the TV show Flight of the Conchords.
Oh yeah,
Kristen Shaw's character is Mel, and she's their biggest fan. She's our Mel,
and the only
she
fan.
Preaches us to anyone that'll listen. My wife will tell if anyone brings up a movie, she'll tell them, but she's not quite the cheerleader like she is. So anytime we refer to our Mel, it's always
we have a Mel. That's all. That's all you actually need.
We have a Mel. Yep.
That's all you need.
No, we have two. We also have. There is a gentleman. Don't really know his real name, but his online handle is Big Meanie, and he came on real early and has always been a champion. One of the first people to actually engage with the show and
that's awesome.
do like Spotify comments about what we're talking about, and when he saw this movie or that thing, or now I need to rewatch that. And though just the fact that he started listening, I'm like, okay, this is totally worth it. I got one person on this earth is willing to listen.
Josh doesn't know this, but I'm catfishing him. I'm actually that guy. I guess I'll tell you now. Cat's out of the bag. We only have one fan. It's my wife. I told you.
That's funny.
I was kidding with you. Sorry, Big Meanie.
So, Naomi, so like we said, your sound design and the production is really well done. Is that something that you had experience doing before, or
no, you didn't, right?
No. Yeah,
you said biomedical research. Is that what you were saying? You did.
Well, they do a lot of sound design in biomedical.
Yeah. There's so much in that. There's so much in that.
But that's a very heavy work. It can be like very, I don't want to say monotonous. I don't know. I'm just saying I would imagine it's a lot of lab work and things like that.
You'd be surprised. Okay. I do a lot on a random day. I can be at my desk all day doing a lot of nothing paperwork, which I hate. I hate it anywhere but my desk.
Yeah.
I can be doing some lab things like processing bloods and whatever else, or I could be pulling animals out of cages and doing, sutures and going to MRI and, doing ultrasounds, teaching vet students. I do a lot.
The show is probably a really good release. It's probably a good break from that. It makes sense. I get that. It's
really amazing. I've always been like a creative person, so like having the show as like this outlet from like this stressor of work is amazing, honestly, because like work will kill you.
Therapeutic, if nothing else. Otherwise, days just bleed into themselves.
I'm actually I got invited. I have a planning meeting on the 1st. I'm going to be going on to a mental health podcast to talk about how podcasting and just this release has been so good for me personally. I always joke that like I fill my schedule so busy because if I'm too busy, then the depression can't catch up. Because I'm always a step ahead. So it's a smart alecky way of saying that just finding that release, something you absolutely love to do. You said you've always been an actor. This is kind of in your blood. And I love that. Finding that place you belong.
Probably not where you ever expected you'd end up, Naomi.
No, not at all. Like podcasting was like the least thing that I thought I would ever do. Like was the bottom of like the barrel.
Yeah.
So
what like if you had to blue sky future for the show, what would you do? Would you ever try to go into the visual medium with films and things of that nature?
I
Or
think that would be amazing. I think that would be like so cool to do, to like adapt some of our stories into like little YouTube
yeah,
like mini series or like something like that. I think that would be like super cool. I don't know how I would get there or do that. I have no idea that like step in that process, but I think that would be something that would be so cool to see, to just bring some of these stories to
yeah,
life.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you visually play them out so well with the production and the writing. It really, visually tells the story so well that I think it would be easy to do if anybody knew how
If
to do
Hey,
it,
if
which
anybody out
isn't
there
me either.
knows,
I'm just
if anyone
saying.
out there wants to help us.
Yeah. Any young struggling animators or young
Later,
filmmakers? Anybody interested?
I would love to see this as like a black and white cartoon,
That would
like
be
animated.
super cool.
That
Or a
would be,
Black Mirror series, something
or a
like
Black
that. I
Black
Mirror
think
Mirror
it
type
could
series.
be.
series.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
somebody left a comment on our Apple podcast, because every now and then I check reviews. I try not to. I just kind of like do. But I saw one recently and I was like, oh my God, like that would be really amazing. There was one story that they loved. They were like, I want a mini series specifically in this universe on this
Oh,
story, like continuing on. And I'm like, that would actually be really cool. Like it would be cool actually, a
Yeah.
video series or something, or an
mhm,
animated series.
right.
What's the
That'd be
most
good.
popular story that you have out there? What's the one that you get the most feedback on, you think?
Honestly, episode one it's the one
Episode
we
Is
one.
it?
get the
Yeah.
most, like whether it's good or bad, it's the one that we get the most comments
So
like about. Yeah.
yeah. So and episode one does deal with some traumatic type stuff. What is the like? Where's your line? What's your line? Like
Animals and kids.
animals and kids.
Yeah.
No,
Smart.
and that's
Animals
episode.
and
So
animals
Dave
and
and I
kids.
With bad
are
taste. That's just
right.
It's
bad
in
taste
bad
stuff.
taste, and
Yeah.
there have been like a few stories that have either say animal harm or kind of like
They
allude to
allude
it,
to it.
and we kind of like take them like with a grain of salt. Like if it provides the story, or if the villain gets their comeuppance in the end, then okay, we can justify that. I have also in the past have gone back to authors and asked, hey, X, Y, and Z won't work for us. Can we change this? Because that just doesn't go with. And most of them are like, yep, change it. Like,
Yeah.
sure, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Because
So for the most part,
there's a way to do a lot of the different kind of traumatic events in a respectful way while maintaining that horror. Dave and I always say that there really is no line that you can cross if it's respectful or if it's funny. Like comedy needs to go to those places sometimes because we have to have that satire and laugh at ourselves. And I
totally.
think the same thing with horror, because horror is just so good for your mental health because it allows you to deal with fear and tough situations in a controlled and safe environment. And I
Yeah.
think it's really good for you in that way. And I think that's why I'm drawn to it, because I'm a screwed up individual and I need to deal with it.
Yeah. It's all messed up. It's all messed up here. Let's see it on the screen.
And
Let's see it in my ears.
Dave calls me a vampire. I suffer from insomnia, so there's a lot of times I'll be awake at 2 or 3 in the morning and I'll just start watching the most, like
Good thing.
a couple weeks ago I couldn't sleep, so I was like, you know what, I haven't watched this in a long time. I watched Faces of Death.
And he's sitting there burning himself with a lighter. And
That's like,
I
this
told you
is
it's unhealthy,
good for
Josh.
me.
Yeah.
I'm not okay, but
Yeah.
no, but yeah, no, I totally appreciate that, and that's kind of where if I'm watching a movie and you start for no reason doing things to animals, or you touch children just in general, those are kind of I can't do this.
Yeah, unless there's some absolute necessary
Right. Well,
bearing for
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Well, there's a movie that Dave and I both bought and watched that it's called Who Can Kill a Child, and I think it's from the 70s. And strangely, it actually deals with the idea of at what point can you turn around and harm a
Are
child?
you familiar, Naomi, with the movie? You know the movie?
I've never heard of it, but like just
Quick
the
2
name
minute
and
synopsis.
yeah.
Quick
Give
2
me.
minute synopsis is this is a couple end up, I think, on an island in the Mediterranean or
Italy,
something.
or off Italy,
Somewhere
or
in there,
something
but
like
they end up on this island that they can't see anybody around. There's no people on this island. It's a very small island, and their boat stops there, and all of a sudden they just see some kids. They see a bunch of kids running around, but no adults. And so I don't remember if they actually explain what happened to the adults, but the kids have
don't
basically
think
taken the
they.
place over, and they're very
Yeah.
violent, like very
Interesting.
violent, and masses of them. But it's very creepy because if you get 500 or 1,000 kids together, they're equal to a handful of grown people, and
Yeah.
that's disturbing. So, anyways, that's the idea. But
Yeah.
sorry.
But
Not that we're watching like snuff films on
no,
like
no.
who wants to kill a child.
No, but
Not
it's
that movie.
very much
That's a
like,
different movie.
how do you, and how do you as an adult reconcile that there's something going on and that drives
Right.
you to that length?
Yeah, and the movie is their struggle to say I can't actually defend myself as a child. Like I can't, even though they're throwing rocks or spears or stabbing us with knives and stuff.
It kind of reminds me of this story that like I read like way back in like 9th or 10th grade. It's an English writer. I cannot tell you the name of the writer or the name of the story, but I can tell you the premise of the story, which is basically this writer trying to justify eating babies, basically.
Wow.
Yeah, it's basically it was written at a time when there was a lot of famine, and your lordships or whatever weren't doing anything for like the people. Everybody was poor. So what other resolution is there? Well, naturally we'll eat the newborns that we can no longer care for. And it was definitely a conversation on like the bigger things in
Sure.
life and like society and caring for your people and government and all of those things. But like the initial premise when you first read it, you're like, what?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
You never eat a child. You never eat a baby. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's crazy. But yeah, I get that.
So what? Back to your production, your sound design and production. So editing is the hardest thing in the world for me. What tools or methods are you using to? Where are you finding your sounds? What programs are you using when you're doing this?
So I ended up like just sticking with Adobe Audition, and that just like it just seems to be the most like user friendly DAWs out there. And for me anyway, I've tried trying to convert to other things that people say that are better, and I can't do it. I'm a one trick pony. I learned one thing. That's all that I'm sticking with.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
and
with you.
that's why I use Riverside, because it's the one I started on. I learned where the buttons were. People are like, oh, well, SteamYard is great. You should really look at it. I'm like, no. I can't
do it. Yeah.
I'm an old dog. I'm not learning new tricks.
Exactly. I can't learn anything new. I do a lot of sound from Epidemic Sound, has a amazing catalog of both sound effects and music, and so I pull from there. I've also like pulled from some other artists who like do like free music as long as you tag them in your like comments and things like that. And freesound.org is also a really good place for sound. A lot of people just like upload their sounds and stuff, and you pay a little bit. I think Epidemic you might pay like $20 a month or something to feed into that, because a lot of artists worth it, because a lot of artists they get paid when you download their thing. And so that's kind of what I've been using so far, and a lot of YouTube for like some things that I really have questions about, and I can't quite tweak things. There are some really amazing people out there that do so many good tutorials on just like using whatever system that you're using, and like how step by step doing that. Like I have like notebooks like all over my desk of like things I've written down, like how to do this and how to do this, and then it just kind of becomes repetition of learning after a while.
YouTube's a good resource. They have the guys, what is it, I'm trying to get their names, the Filippo,
the
guys who made
the guys who did Talk to Me.
Yeah, the guys who made Talk to Me, like that's basically where they got their whole shtick, right? Like the Raka Raka or whatever. I watched the movie last night. There is the reason it's top of my mind. But I watched the movie last night, and I don't typically do a lot of deep dive on YouTube because I'll get sucked in for hours.
Hours.
I try to avoid but I did find myself watching a bunch of their stuff. It's clever. It's funny. It makes me feel good about this. I don't want to say this generation. It makes me feel very old, but the younger set, the younger creatives that are coming out and stuff like that.
Dave.
But I followed the movie by going backwards to see where they kind of came from, and like
that's really cool.
It's a good resource, not only for you to pull information and pull sounds and things like that from, but like Yeah, everything's on YouTube, isn't it? Like,
Yeah,
Everything's on YouTube,
Yeah.
and like I said, there's some
How
really
to Kill
good
a
people.
Child's on there.
How to Kill a
you know,
Child on there.
How to Eat a
How to
Baby.
Eat a
It's all
Baby.
on
That's
there.
all on there.
The best ways to cook a baby. You know,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that stuff.
Make it into bread.
All
It's
that
fine.
gross stuff. But anyways, I just want to say, like, it's I don't know. I don't think, Belle, you didn't do a lot of digging after.
No, not on their past or what they have working on, what they've been working.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Like I said, I'm always a little inspired. I used to hang out. I was a kid of the '80s and '90s, but I used to hang out a lot with skateboarders and things like that. And I was always impressed. Which, even if I couldn't skate, with their ability to persevere and keep trying. And I don't know. I'm seeing these guys. It feels like that's what they're doing too, I guess.
Yeah.
I know it's a little sidetrack. Sorry.
Right, before we dive into Talk to Me, just a couple more things. First, obviously we know what my favorite episode is. Do you, Naomi, have a favorite episode that was like, which one speaks to you the most? Is it something you wrote or something someone brought into you guys?
Honestly, I think it's one of it's our most recent episodes. It's our season finale from last season, and it is one that I've written, and only because I got Peter Lewis on there, and he's a voice actor from another podcast called the No Sleep Podcast. And if you ever listen to anything this man does, he's terrifying. He just has this like perfect creepy tenor that you hear his voice and you know shit's about to get weird. It's gonna go down, and he did it. Like
it's just disturbing. The voice alone is disturbing.
The voice alone is just disturbing, and I think that he's a phenomenal actor. And I reached out to him on a whim, like, would you like be willing to work with us? Would you be willing to do this like episode? And like I told him about the episode, and I kind of like left it. I didn't hear anything. I'm like, it'll be fine. I'll find one of our actors will do it. He came back to me. He's like, I've never played a vampire before.
All right.
Oh my god, yes.
That's what, yeah.
That's
you
awesome.
start writing a bunch of vampire stuff. You're like, let's get him back.
And I think just being able to have someone that like I kind of like look up to as a voice actor, and he's been in a lot of like things and written things, and so being able to like hold my own against somebody like that,
it gives credence to your art. It gives credence to your creative forces.
Yeah,
it merit to everything you're doing. It makes you feel.
And I wanted to do like him justice too. Like I'm like you're providing this amazing talent for me to play with, and I want to do you justice just as well. And so I just really love like how that episode came out. We hadn't written a vampire story yet. Sean had been on my case nonstop, wanting a vampire story, and I was like, you can't do that to me. That's not how my creativity works. You can't just ask me to write about rainbows and leprechauns, and I will do that for you. That's not happening.
That's how a lot of Hollywood studios work. They just force their writers into a box. We need Adam Sandler. We need him doing something in Hawaii.
Yeah,
and
it
has to have the Kool-Aid Man.
Of those movies.
It has to be Kool-Aid Man. Exactly. And that's not how I
Garrett
work.
Graham in it.
Garrett Graham. So Naomi, every episode of our show, we mention our favorite actor, Garrett Graham.
Just
he's kind of
the actor from the 70s mostly, but but that's just our shtick.
He has to come up in every episode. No, so for those listening, the episode we're talking about is called The Last Interview.
Yeah. So sorry, I should have said that.
You sent a list out, or I got a list from Belle, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
But of some suggestions. This is the only one I didn't listen to.
Now you have to go and listen to it.
I'm going to
understand.
I'm gonna keep listening anyways because I'm a big fan now. So I definitely want to hear the first one too, which I didn't realize how phenomenal it was. Nobody told me to listen to that one, even though I should have.
In trouble.
Yeah, before I had reached out to you guys to find out where you recommend us listening to get some feedback, I had already listened to like 8 of season 1 episodes. Like I had already started, but. Yeah, it's always nice to see where you guys which ones are the creators' favorites, because my favorite episodes of my show are not the ones that the most people listen to.
Yeah, that's normally how it goes.
It's not right. That's normally how it is.
What about is there I don't know what the metrics are. You guys know better than I do, but is there some way to judge what's the most popular? I know you get traction on social media on some, but
I
like,
would
is there
have to
anyone
go
that
look at our pod. We have we do everything off of Podbean. Have to look at Podbean and see what is the highest traction like episode
just curious?
that we have. Yeah.
Do you follow, like, is there a trend? Do you ever notice, like, I'm just curious of certain types of stories that seem like they fare better, get more comments, or anything like that? Or
No,
it's
we
kind of all
really
over. It's just the
it's
quality
all
of each
over.
individual.
It's just the quality of the writing and what we decide like stories that we want for like the season. Like for example, this season I said we're going to do 20 stories. So we'll have 20 spots. Sean and I will have so many, and then we'll give the rest to any submissions that come along or fill in the gaps if we don't get enough. We got more than enough this season,
Right.
which I was very surprised about. And so it was very hard to choose which ones we wanted to like represent the show, which ones we thought that were like amazing. We want to do it. I hate telling people no, and I had to tell some few people no, and I felt awful. I
yeah.
felt it's like, who am I to tell you no? Like that's how I
Just
feel.
like rejection letters,
personally.
like rejection letters that everybody's got, and you say stuff like, "This isn't exactly right for the time we're in right now, but we do
Yeah.
love your blah 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 blah."
Yeah.
And
I
come
had
back
to-
next year.
I
somebody
hate
reached
writing
out.
those.
Somebody reached out to wanting to be interviewed for the show, or their publicist reached
Mhm.
out, and I was like, "You're not a fit for what
What
this
we do.
show is," and I gotta say no, but I'm like, I don't want to say no, so I sit there and I write up like 18 different emails telling them no, and I'm like,
Is it Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer? Because I don't want to talk to them.
I know that
it's not
sounds awful.
no.
No.
That's an easy email to say no to, but
yeah.
Yeah,
that's
I feel that way about like the voice actors too that we've had audition and stuff for us. I like hate telling like the ones audition like, hey, you didn't get this role. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Like,
right.
you know, it doesn't mean that you're a bad actor or you
So
should stop.
So for any writers out there, anybody who wants to submit to your show for future season 7 or beyond, what is your do you have a format requirement? Do you have a word count limit? And what are you looking for when you're soliciting story?
So we're obviously spell check your work. Number one thing, spell check your work. Please.
It's not hard. It's usually on a computer.
Hard. Just do it.
The only AI I allow is a spell checker.
Do that. But usually we'll take anything between about like 3,000 to 500 or 5,000 words around there. Usually gives you like the 15-minute to the hour marker in like word rise. We'll take any subject barring, animals dying and children. None of that unless it's for a purpose or some reason. And just a good captivating story, honestly, like a story like both of us are like foaming at the mouth for.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Because I've only listened to mostly the first season, Dave, recently, do you have any like cryptids type stories where you like the Wendigos coming after somebody, or have you done any of those monster stories?
What's a cryptid, Bill?
I
don't know what the hell you're talking about. I don't know if Naomi does.
Yes, I do. I love cryptids.
Okay.
Yes, Naomi. Teach Dave for me, please.
Okay.
It's like a creature of lore, like usually tied to like a specific area. Your Wendigos, your Mothmen, your Bigfoots, your
Chupacabra.
Yetis, Chupacabras, your Loch Ness Monster is also a cryptid. So like all of those things, it's
tied to a region, basically.
Usually tied to a region, a lore, or something like that. A lot of places have overlapping like themes of something similar, like. For example, I write for another show as well. Surprise.
Do you? You're not busy enough, so you're putting other material out there? How do you decide what the A material goes to which one? That's crazy.
Because that show is a continuous show, so I have continuing characters. And so that is its own separate universe.
You're writing serialized content for this one.
I'm writing serialized content for one show, and mine is unserialized. So like,
what is that other show?
So it's a spin-off of another show. It's called It's on the Cards. What I write for is the Deck of Eternals. And it's basically 4 individuals steal a tarot deck from a witch because it's going to give them power and all of these things. The main character, Charles, wants to basically save his mother from dying, right? Very, benevolent things to do. But at the end, the deck is evil. It's going to turn you evil. There's a reason why said witch had the deck.
Right.
And like he brings on, you know, his warlock friends, an ex-marine, and a professor of cryptid knowledge, aka also a psychopath who likes to murder. And you have this lovely band of
Yeah.
individuals, and every episode is them pulling a card, a different card from the deck. And that card is tied to a cryptid. They basically have to go out, hunt that cryptid down, and feed it to the deck.
Oh, okay.
So
That's cool.
so each
Yeah.
episode is me kind of like doing a lot of research on
Yeah.
cryptids. So
Yeah,
I know
a
a
lot of
lot
lore
more,
and
a lot of
yeah.
lore. In one episode we wrote recently, actually had like Ireland's version of the Headless Horseman. And like, especially when I'm in like regions and stuff, I really try and like research history and knowledge and put
Yeah.
as much of that into my fiction as possible to make it real. And so I'm literally, it's like almost my cutoff to my bedtime. It's 10 o'clock and I'm like
Yeah.
on Google Maps, like trying to be like, how many St. Peter's churches are there? And where would this man have appeared from? And is it on this road? And
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
it has to be real.
I picture Charlie Day at his board in It's Always
I
Sunny.
send that to Ashley, the creator, all the time. Like, this is me creating
this
your
is where I'm
stupid
at.
story. Like,
Yeah.
hey, Alligator, story's doing this to me. You see
Yeah.
this?
This is what,
This is what you're putting me through.
It's just like, I love you. It's great.
I love it.
So it's been a lot of fun to be able to like express that way and like find new lores. Like I got to like kind of put in a one of our favorite like places on the East Coast. Like I got to like do a story for that around that whole town and turn it into like a cryptidy town of lore, which was fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what can
cryptid.
what can
No,
we
yeah,
as travelers
I learned something today.
You did.
I learned a new word.
What can we as travelers look forward to in season 6?
Season 6, you'll look forward to obviously 20 new stories. For a lot of these are all going to be from other writers, so this season is really about showcasing other people's works. Anything that like Sean and I do will be like sparsely like here and there throughout there. Our Patreons will get to kind of get a look into Ranger Harper, so that's something else to look forward to.
Awesome.
So, and we have some new voices that will be added to the show. So we've got like a full cast this season. It's really cool.
Do you have
the young writer that you said you were working and coaching? Is their story going to make it?
Their story is made it. Yep.
All right. Just curious. It's awesome.
It's later on in the season and they've made it. So yeah, I'm really excited for that one too.
When do you anticipate the first episode of season 6 dropping?
First week of September.
So coming
as
up.
long as I give myself that buffer we talked about earlier.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I try and do the same thing as you guys. I have like a number in my head of how many stories I want in the bank before I'm like, we can really start this. Because then if you catch up to it, it's so bad.
Yeah, then it's stress. Then it becomes pressure.
Absolutely. Yes. And I'm a firm believer in that no matter what, family comes first. So shit's gonna happen, and I need to have that buffer so that if Dave needs to take two Saturdays off from recording, it doesn't hurt us. Or if I need to, like I had to go visit some family in Cleveland a couple weeks ago, so we had to miss a week, but it didn't hurt us because we've got that.
You had the buffer,
so there's no stress coming back to it.
It's a nice little break.
Yeah,
makes sense.
And sometimes it's nice to just have a Saturday where I don't have to. Well, I guess Dave never does, but I outline everything and I've got all kinds of, I've got copious notes.
I have the easiest part of this whole thing, man. I need to show up.
He's all like, what are we doing today?
I'm like, where are my headphones?
Do you have the mic? Like,
can you hear me?
Yeah. I'm good to go. All my prep's done.
Oh my God, that's great.
Well, let's talk about the movie. So Naomi, you recommended that we watch 2022's Talk to Me, written and directed by Danny and Michael Filippo from A24 Studios. Real quick premise: a group of teens discover how to conjure spirits using an embalmed hand that allows them to invite the dead to possess their bodies, but only for a limited amount of time. The game quickly turns dangerous when the line between the living and the dead blurs, leading to tragic consequences. So what's your connection to this movie? Why this movie for us to watch?
I picked this movie specifically because I love a good urban legend, and this movie gave that to you in droves. It really made me think like back to my teenage years or like my middle school era where I would have heard about something like this or like Bloody Mary or whatever like that. Like you would have heard it at a party that you weren't supposed to be at, and like you played with this thing and like that. I love those kinds of like stories because it almost gives you this like little bit of truth to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like
there's
it
usually a
makes it more.
basis, a nugget of something
There's a
real in
nugget
there.
of something like somebody did this somewhere and that was the inspiration like for this or something similar to this. Someone got a Ouija board out and something creepy happened and like so they made this movie.
Yeah.
Right.
And so like that's kind of why I think it was smart writing. It was just the cinematography was smart. I love the ending.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
I won't say why, but but I
Don't
love
want
the
to switch.
ending.
Yes.
I
This.
won't spoil it on the reason why, but if you whoever out there watches it,
Yeah.
you'll understand why.
Bruce Willis is dead the whole time.
The whole
Exactly.
time.
Gosh, whole
The
time.
whole. No.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Can I throw my
Yeah.
2 cents, Bill?
Yeah.
Please.
I think the most impressive thing, in my opinion, the thing I liked the most about it was that it wasn't even entirely about that. It was a story about loss and grief, and
Oh yeah.
and that there's this modern. Again, I'm not the biggest horror fan. Not that I don't like. I like all films. If it's a good film, I'm going to like it, regardless of what the content is, even if it's about killing children. But that being said, like there's just better than I don't want to say the slasher flick of the old, but like just that concept of where they could give the audience less. Now there has to be more. You have to care about the characters. They have to understand their struggle, and there's usually some sort of connection between everything. And like the main characters grieving loss, we don't even quite know everything at the beginning. We're kind of getting all the pieces
Yeah, we
put
get bits
together
and
and the
pieces.
struggle that has happened there and stuff like that. Obviously, it's an integral part of the movie.
Yeah.
Towards the end, I'm not
Her,
going to say,
her
but
loss is very much a catalyst in the movie.
Right.
one of the my favorite pieces of trivia, because I would check IMDb trivia if I really like something, and that was that the twins, the brothers, the Filippo, whatever,
Mhm.
that they only had like a couple of days where they could do a multi-camera shoot where they could have 2 cameras going at one time. Now, most of the time, filmmaking, if you're big budget, you have 10 cameras going, or
Right.
if you're
Yeah.
small, you have the single camera or whatever. You're just kind of trying to get all your shots. But they, instead of putting that in like action sequences and stuff like that, they used it for a very emotional moment. Which, like that's they took the only way they could have afforded this 2-camera deal that would have given them better angles on certain monstery things or whatever, but instead they chose to do it for the emotional impact of the moment. And I think that's, I don't know, it's my favorite piece of trivia because it just shows that they were actually trying to make something
Yeah.
with more depth to it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that translates really well, like through the actors and through like every scene, because you're like Josh is right. Like this was a movie about loss. Like at the end of the day, that's what it is, and it's about grieving and trying to deal with that, whether you deal with it in a healthy way or a haunted way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Depends on you.
Yeah.
But I think that's an amazing piece of trivia that's what they used to
Yeah.
just really have these actors emote those
And when you
experiences.
talk indie horror, early horror for anybody, it all comes down to this movie has got to catch you. There's got to be a hook. And
Mhm.
for this one, that jarring beginning, it's the opening. It doesn't spoil anything.
Yeah.
The sudden stabbing and then walking through in the suicide.
Yep.
It's brutal and shocking. You have no frame of reference. It just happens. And that right then I was like, oh shit, I'm not holding my phone for this one.
Yeah.
I
Put the laptop away.
right. Well, I'm a fidgeter. I always have little things that I'm playing with.
We're lucky,
Yeah.
Naomi. He hasn't kicked his microphone over yet, because normally he does that at least once a show.
So my
Sound like one of my
Fumbling
actors.
around, moving his arms everywhere,
Just
he's
like
dancing.
dancing.
Yeah.
there was an episode where my camera for some reason wasn't attached and it kept falling. It would just
No.
crash everywhere. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
you kept bumping the table, but that's a different
yeah.
story. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
It wasn't connected. So no, I've learned to sit back. But yeah, that it starts out, it's brutal, and then it just goes into kind of a seemingly suburban family drama, and then a little TikTok or YouTube short kicks it back into this supernatural urban legend thing.
Really authentic
really well
dialogue.
done. Yeah.
The kids, the dialogue between everybody was it felt genuine, which is hard to do, especially with people. But I think it's again because the creators are younger. I don't want to say I don't know how young, but younger, and so they're probably closer to the 14 to 18-year-old age group, which is primarily the kids. But it's impressive. It was. They're making a sequel and stuff, and good on them. And I know they had other opportunities to do all kinds of other stuff instead of this, and they were offered other chances to make a new version of this, very expensive version. They chose not to do that. Like, I just mad respect for these kids who are. I keep saying kids, but the younger creatives, the ones who are the youth,
the two youths,
yeah. But I realized recently that the one thing of all the things that I find visually, like, I'm not moved by monsters, I'm not moved by stuff like that, but there's something about characters or visual things of self-mutilation that just get me. And but it's akin, like the very beginning shot, not that it's ruining anything, but he literally just stabs himself in the head, and there's something about that that's not the same as, like, and I don't want to talk about suicide and all those things, it's a terrible thing, but there's something about that is more disturbing to me. It's like somebody who, it's in Fight Club when he's burning himself with the acid. It's just, there's something about that in me that makes me think that's because it's almost like your loss of instinct of self-preservation kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and so
like
it's
you've
more
lost
animalistic.
that one little mental cube.
Something's just switched gears, or beating your head into a table.
Right.
Like, that stuff is just disturbing.
It's
but
gnarly.
I love it. But and it fits perfectly with the story they're telling. So it's not done for the shock value. Does that mean, you know what I mean?
Right. I feel like everything in this movie was like so meticulously like looked after, like every angle, even like choosing, I probably because of budget, but choosing actors that like aren't well known. I think the bully is the only one that I've seen in other things. Everyone else is like a newer actor, which I thought was just kudos to both themselves and the directors who like chose them. Yeah.
I watch a lot of indie films. I get producers reaching out wanting us to watch and review movies, and they're a lot of fun and I enjoy them. But this one, the acting is
top notch.
Is actually This is professional acting.
It's a good script, like the dialogue.
Really good script.
This isn't community theater acting. This is real, emotional, fully fleshed out, three-dimensional characters.
This is their first movie, right? These guys.
First movie. Like, they're like first big movie, and like they hit it out of the park that it can be a cult classic in the future, kind of thing. And you're right, the writing is really what like does it in, because I've always found the hardest part of writing, at least for me anyway, is dialogue. I can describe you a beautiful scene. I love that. That's my bread and butter. But sitting down and having people conversate and talk and have it flow and stuff and
sound normal
where to add the funny jokes or the not funny jokes, where to be serious and not that, it's difficult. It really is, to make it like seamless.
That's a lot of film studios have specific people to do dialogue. They do dialogue passes on scripts because of that exact same reason. You could be a really great screenwriter and your dialogue is terrible, so the studio takes it and hands it to somebody else, and then they get a screenplay by a second person, that thing at the during the credits and stuff like that. It's hard. Dialogue's tough.
It is. Oh yeah, grooving. But and then they're getting. I'm hearing nothing but amazing things about their recent movie, Bring Her Back. People are raving about how great it is. It's still in theaters, and I don't get to the theaters as much as I would like.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet, so I'll have to.
I do. I like the concept of this one a lot, and like I said, I don't even know if I consider it so much. I guess I shouldn't even call it horror, because it isn't really. It's like psychological thriller as much as there's anything else. But I just don't want to
it's a subgenre of horror, sort of. Kind of.
I guess there's a mystical element and things like that to it and stuff.
It does have that. It does have that. Well, the whole idea that you can get into a ghost, or a ghost can inhabit you, and
right.
So
Yeah, there's good backstory. Thanks for recommending it.
yeah,
I don't know if I probably would have gotten around to it anyways, but I'd love when somebody tells me a good movie that
yeah.
I
I love
enjoy so
that.
much.
Yeah, so I'm not a big. I don't love Netflix.
No.
So I don't no. So I only go to Netflix when I have something specific in mind that I want to watch. I don't want to scroll through all of their garbage to try to find something.
Well,
Yeah.
now Netflix is not gonna want to be a sponsor. Come on,
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Well,
Jeez, man.
Netflix is.
I love Netflix. It's amazing.
Netflix's CEO.
It's one of the best. It's one of the top 100 services out there.
It is. It's that. Well, just like our podcast.
Yeah, there you
It's one of the top 100 couch-themed podcasts.
with two fat guys sitting around talking about nonsense.
Oh, we missed something there. Two guys, one couch.
Yeah, I think you get a lot of Google searches where people will be very disappointed. Like, that's not what I thought that was going to be.
But at least they Googled you. Like,
Yeah, that's
at
true.
least
Right,
maybe
yeah.
like, well, I might as well click on this now.
Watch
we've
5
gotta see
seconds
what
of
we
each
put
one.
on
And
here. But
Yeah.
no, I really did enjoy it. I'm excited to see what else they got out there. I'm gonna do the YouTube thing and see the videos that they did. But I think that
they're creative. You should check out
Yeah.
their whole shtick. Basically, they had, I don't know, 83 videos, whatever they
Dang.
put out there, but they had all those to practice on.
Yeah,
You know, with
before they
production
had
and
the
things like
money
that.
to-
It's mostly just them and their friends making a bunch of goofy stuff with Ronald McDonald and stuff. But it's,
Yeah. And
some of
honestly,
it's funny.
sometimes that's like the smartest way to flesh out things, like, and see what people actually react to and what they like.
Learn
like,
to use cameras, learn to direct people, learn to put
Mhm.
makeup on, learn to do all that stuff. Like they,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
good on them for doing those things. You know?
lighting.
lighting and all
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's smart.
No, and so I just did a quick search. It's the budget on this movie was $4.5 million, and it definitely feels much bigger than that. So like they
Yeah.
really maximized everything.
Well, and
Yeah.
Australia gave them a pretty
I'm
decent
sure.
chunk
Oh,
of that.
yeah.
They did, and it's because they like to promote the artists in
yeah.
that country,
Right, yeah.
You know,
And
like,
and now you can
yeah.
get like the talk to me hands, like as
Oh, can
like,
you?
memorabilia. Yeah, it's a big
that's
like
amazing.
because it's A24
Yeah.
A20.
too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so like, they love to do like their merch for things and
True.
whatnot. And the hand is one that you can get your hand on.
I wonder if they. Oh, I love it. I love it. So, just curious, what if you had to give it a rating out of 5? Where do you land on?
For me,
Yeah.
I think it's an all around movie. So it's a 5 for me, which is like hard. I don't give those out very often, but it
Yeah.
hit all of my buttons, so it's definitely a 5 for me.
Yeah, I'm in that 4 to 4.5, but I try to be like, if this was a big budget movie, I have to think, what would I knock it for as a big budget movie? And I still don't know that there's much that I would take off.
If Hugh Jackman was in it, if
Well,
what's your
Hugh
name?
Jackman,
Rob-
he gets a 5.5.
I'm just saying,
In it.
if they took a bunch of Australian big name actors, Margot Robbie's in it as the mom and stuff.
They would have so
then
much
it probably would
filler,
be-
and it wouldn't have been
Yeah,
as
it'd
good.
be
It wouldn't
exactly.
translate well.
It wouldn't feel authentic. That's the difference.
I would like a little bit more. For me, I want to know why, like, what happened that they found out that the time limit that they can be under. I want to know more about.
I thought there was a prequel that they're doing. So if they're doing,
Is it a prequel? I didn't know if it
Okay,
was a
I
sequel
thought
or
it
prequel.
The next one is Talk to Me.
I know some studio head told them
Oh,
to
I'm
put
sure.
the number
well,
2 in the title.
I wish that, like, I really feel like the guy at the beginning, he is that story. He's the reason they know that that's too long. I feel.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I also like that they don't tell me too much, because so many horror stories go so far into the exposition, and then they explain it to a point where I just don't. There's no fear anymore. There's no scare, and
Right.
They definitely didn't.
I'm better off not knowing. It's the unknown. You don't see the shark the whole time. That's what makes John scary.
Right.
I don't want to see a mechanical shark. I'm not afraid of an amusement park ride.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. 100%.
Oh my God, it's Lincoln. Like none of that stuff actually does that for me. I just want to know Lincoln's out there somewhere.
Yeah, it's the fear of the possibility, and like that's what gets you. That's what gets your heart rate going.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Well, Naomi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, guys.
This was great. The conversation was awesome. Give all of the praise that we gave you. Let Sean know that we really do, like, it's for sure. You're going to be a regular cycle on my podcasting list. So I really appreciate it. I may even, when you put out a call for season 7, I may even send you one of my writings.
He will. I'm sure he will. He's only doing this whole podcast to get his writing out there. I know it. I just know it.
I want to be a writer, people.
We love doing collabs with other shows and other people and stuff. So, like, that's like a number one thing, again, because we talk about so much about boosting other people, boosting writing and stuff, and connecting with that. So send it over, definitely.
That's awesome.
He will.
Awesome. Well, sure. Again, one more time, Naomi, tell us where people can find you, all of your socials, emails, websites, all that. Let us know.
So we're the Morbid Forest everywhere. So that's going to be Instagram. That's going to be X or Twitter if you're old school. We're on Threads. We're on Blue Skies. We're on Tumblr sometimes. We have our own website. We're most active on Instagram, Threads, and X, honestly. And you can email us anytime at themorbidforest@gmail.com. Our show is available everywhere from YouTube to Apple to Spotify to whatever the weird player that you have out there. We're probably on it.
Everybody should check it out. It's amazing. It's really, really good.
Check it out. And I definitely do think, listen to the very first episode. If that
I will. I told you I will.
If that one gets under your skin, if it gets under your skin in the right way, then you're in the right place. Absolutely loved it. With that, thank you everybody for listening to Couch Critics. Great conversation with Naomi today about the Morbid Forest. It really is a great podcast. I absolutely love it. It's perfectly produced. It's wonderful, great sound. But I think that's going to do it for us today. Make sure that you go on, like, subscribe, leave us a comment wherever you listen to your podcast. Dave and I need validation.
Lots of validation.
A lot of validation. Just stroke those egos for these boys.
Exactly. Just
I love
keep me going. Something.
We need heavy petting, guys.
Yeah.
And you know where to find us. We're on the socials at Real Talk everywhere except X. We're actually Real Talk Pod. YouTube, TikTok, all the places. Come join us for more conversation behind the scenes. Check out our YouTube. We're constantly uploading videos and short reviews and different things. But until next time, this has been Couch Critics, where two grown men talk passionately
about things that really don't affect ours or anybody else's lives.
Not at all.
Thank you, Naomi. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Naomi.
Thanks, guys.